The stars were quiet that night, but silence never meant peace in deep space. A ship drifted near the blue edge of the Xylon Nebula, its lights flickering like a heartbeat. Inside, one human, Captain Rice Morgan, stared at a message on the screen. A voice recording played again and again, soft, alien, and strangely human. "Help me! Please! They will destroy me!" Rice didn't know who she was, only that her signal came from the surface of Zorath 9, a planet that no one was allowed to visit anymore. He looked out the window at the swirling colors of the nebula. His ship AI whispered, "Captain, this could be a trap." Rice smiled slightly. "Yeah, most good stories start that way." He pressed the engines forward. And before we dive deeper into this strange journey, if you enjoy mysterious human stories in dark galaxies, then please subscribe to this channel so you don't miss what happens next. Now, let's go back to the story. The ship broke through the clouds of Zorath 9. Ash floated in the air like slow snow. Ruins of an old alien city stretched for miles, glowing faintly from the crystals buried in the ground. Rice stepped out, his helmet scanning for life. Only one signal appeared. Weak, fading. He followed it through the ruins, heart beating faster with each step. The voice called again, closer now. "Help me!" He pushed through a wall, and there, under broken stone and silver wires, lay a woman unlike any he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered pale violet, her hair white as moonlight, her eyes wide and scared, yet beautiful. When Rice helped her up, the scanner flashed red, DNA, unidentified, not just alien, but cloned. "Who are you?" he whispered. She looked at him, trembling. "I am a copy, a mistake they made." He didn't understand. She looked so real, so alive. But when she spoke again, her words sent a cold chill through him. "They made me for Rom the Queen, the one who rules the Hive." Rice froze. The alien queen, the most feared being in the galaxy, was said to control thousands of minds. If this girl was her clone, then this place wasn't abandoned. It was a secret lab. He looked around. The walls were covered with strange alien markings, like prayers or warnings. Somewhere in the dark, machinery still hummed softly. The girl's hand touched his. Warm, real. "I didn't want to exist," she said quietly, "but I don't want to die either." Rice took a deep breath. He knew he should report this. The Galactic Council would pay a fortune to capture her. But, looking into her eyes, he saw something pure, something human. He turned off his communicator. "No one needs to know yet," he said. "You're safe with me." She smiled faintly. A moment of calm in a storm about to begin. That night, as the ship lifted off the planet, Rice watched her sleeping in the medbay. He didn't know her name. He didn't know what she could become. But deep inside, a strange feeling grew. Not fear, not duty. Something else. Outside, the nebula glowed red now, like an eye opening in the dark. Far away, in the Hive's core world, the real queen stirred in her throne of light. Her connection to the stars flickered. Something, someone, had touched her mind. She opened her eyes. Her voice echoed through millions of drones. "Who dares touch my echo?" The Hive screamed awake. Across galaxies, her senses stretched, searching for the small pulse that felt so familiar. And there, in the deep blue of Zorath space, she felt it again. A heartbeat. A human heartbeat. Her lips curved into a smile. Soft. Dangerous. "My clone breathes," she whispered. "And she is not alone." The queen rose slowly from her throne. The air shimmered around her as her wings unfolded like blades of glass. The hive bowed before her. "Find them," she said. "Bring me my mirror, and the man who dares hold her." The darkness around her rippled. Ships began to move. The hunt had begun. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Rice Morgan had no idea that saving one life had already started a war. The ship drifted quietly through the dark sea of stars, but inside, silence felt heavier than gravity. Rice sat in the cockpit, eyes locked on the reflection in the glass. Behind him, the alien clone was awake now, watching the stars too. For hours, neither spoke. Maybe both were afraid of the same thing, the truth. Finally, Rice turned to her. "You never told me your name." She looked down at her hands, pale light running under her skin like liquid silver. "I don't have one," she said softly. "They only called me Subject 9. Rice frowned. "That's not a name. You deserve better." He thought for a moment. "How about Lyra?" She blinked, confused. "What does it mean?" He smiled a little. "A star that never fades." For the first time, she smiled too. And that smile, it felt human. Hours passed. The ship crossed the nebula and entered deep black space, heading toward a quiet moon station where Rice could restock and hide. Lyra wandered the corridors, touching everything like a child seeing the world for the first time. Metal doors, screens, the hum of power. She was amazed by it all. But something inside her kept pulsing. A faint echo she didn't understand. A whisper inside her mind. "Where are you, my child?" Lyra froze. Her eyes widened. That voice. It wasn't human. It was something older, colder, and far away. Rice found her standing still, breathing fast. "Hey, you okay?" She turned slowly. "Someone's calling me." He looked around. "There's no signal here. No one knows where." Before he could finish, the lights flickered. The control panel flashed red. "Alert! Incoming energy wave. Unknown source." The ship shook violently. Rice grabbed the console. "What the hell?" Outside, space itself seemed to bend. A wave of dark light passed through the hull, making the air hum with static. Lyra screamed. She fell to the floor, clutching her head. Rice ran to her side. Her eyes glowed white, her skin pulsing with strange symbols. "Lyra, stay with me!" But she wasn't hearing him anymore. In her mind, she was standing somewhere else, a dark hall of stone and smoke, and in front of her, the Queen, the real one. Her face was both beautiful and terrible, shifting like fire underwater. Her eyes, twin suns of gold. "You live," the Queen said. "You breathe my air. You carry my memory." Lyra stepped back, terrified. "I'm not you. I don't want to be you." The Queen's smile was slow. "Then why do you feel me, little mirror? Why does my power run in your blood?" Lyra shook her head.
Because they made me. I didn't choose this.
The Queen's eyes darkened.
Then I will choose for you.
Back in the real world, Rice saw her body lift slightly off the floor. Energy crackled around her. Panels sparked. The ship groaned. He grabbed her shoulders, shouting, "Lyra, fight it! Don't let her in!" Her voice broke through, trembling.
She's inside me. She wants to see you.
Rice froze.
Me?
Lyra's eyes flickered between her soft violet and the Queen's glowing gold. When she spoke again, the voice wasn't hers. It was deeper, stronger.
So, this is the human who took my shadow.
Rice stepped back.
Get out of her!
The Queen's voice laughed softly through Lyra's lips.
I only wanted to see the one who touched what is mine.
He pointed his blaster.
She's not yours.
Lyra's face twisted in pain.
Rice, stop, please.
The lights dimmed again. Then, suddenly, it was over. Lyra gasped for air, collapsing into his arms. Her glow faded. The hum stopped. Rice held her close.
What happened?
She whispered weakly.
She knows now. She saw you.
Rice felt the chill go through his bones. He looked out the window, far beyond the stars, in the endless day. Look, something moved. A fleet. Dozens of alien ships, spreading like wings across the void.
She's coming,
Lyra said, her voice breaking.
She's coming for both of us.
Rice slammed his fist on the console. He had two choices, run or fight. But neither sounded good against the Hive. He looked down at her. She was still shaking, still human enough to fear. I'll protect you, he said, no matter what. She looked at him with tearful eyes. Even if it means losing yourself? He hesitated, then nodded. Yes. Outside, the stars shifted. One of them blinked out, then another. Not stars, ships, thousands of them. Rice powered the engines. The ship roared to life, cutting through the black. He didn't look back. He couldn't, because somewhere, in that vast ocean of stars, a queen had marked her prey. And in the echo of Lyra's heart, something ancient began to awaken, something that was not entirely her, and not entirely alien. The stars around the ship looked calm again, but calm was only the space between storms. Rice hadn't slept in 2 days. His hands trembled slightly as he guided the ship through the dark belt of shattered moons. Each fragment glowed faintly, the bones of old worlds broken by war. Lyra sat near the viewport, wrapped in a grey blanket. She stared at her reflection, her own eyes slowly flickering between violet and gold. Sometimes she whispered things in a language that wasn't hers. Sometimes she stopped breathing for a moment, as if listening to someone far away. Rice pretended not to notice. He needed to believe she was still the same girl he had saved. He needed to believe he hadn't already lost her. "Where are we going?" she asked quietly. "To the outpost on Kepler C," he said. "It's abandoned. Mostly. I have a friend there who might hide us." Lyra nodded, but her voice trembled. "She will find us. The Queen never stops." Rice smiled weakly. "Then she'll have to catch me first." He tried to sound brave, but deep down he felt something else, a weight pressing on his chest, fear mixed with something harder to name. Hours passed. The ship slipped into silent drift mode. Rice left the cockpit and walked into the med bay where Lyra rested. Her vitals were stable, but her energy signature pulsed irregularly, like two heartbeats fighting inside one body. He touched her hand gently. "Lyra, if she tries to control you again, fight it, okay?" Her eyes opened slowly. She's already inside. Part of her lives here now. She placed a hand on her chest. "I can hear her dreams, her anger, her memories." Rice swallowed hard. "What does she want?" Lyra's voice turned hollow. "She wants you." He froze. "Me? Why?" "She says you broke the chain. Humans aren't supposed to touch what belongs to the Hive. You changed something. Inside me. Inside her." Rice backed away, confused. "I didn't do anything." Lyra smiled faintly, almost sadly. "You gave me a name. You gave me choice. That's something the Queen can't understand." Suddenly, the ship shook. Lights flashed red. "Intrusion alert. Hull breach. Sector 7. Rice ran to the corridor. A thin line of black smoke leaked from the wall, and then a shadow moved inside it. Something crawled out of the metal, tall, thin, silver-skinned with no face. It looked half real, half hologram. Rice aimed his blaster. "Stay back!" The creature tilted its head. Its voice came through static. "The Queen sees you." It lunged. Rice fired, the shot cutting through the dark. The creature shattered into shards of light, but before it vanished, its hand touched his arm. Pain seared through him. His vision blurred. When he looked down, faint golden lines burned under his skin. "Rice!" Lyra screamed from behind. She rushed to him, eyes glowing bright. He fell to his knees. "What? What did it do to me?" Lyra placed her hands over the mark. Her energy flowed into him, cooling the pain. But as she did, her own body trembled violently. Her voice echoed, two tones overlapping. "She marked you. Now you're bound to her web." Rice gasped. "I can feel something watching." Lyra's eyes filled with fear. "She'll use you to find us." She grabbed his face, tears running down her cheeks. "I can stop it, but I'll have to go inside your mind." Rice hesitated. "What if she finds you instead?" Lyra smiled through the fear. "Then we'll face her together." She closed her eyes and pressed her forehead against his. A wave of light filled the room. For a moment, time stopped. Rice saw flashes, memories not his own, cities of light, millions kneeling before a golden throne, the Queen standing above them, her wings cutting through the sky. Then he saw her turn. Her gaze locked onto him across space and time. "You dare steal from me?" The vision shattered. Rice and Lyra fell apart, gasping. The lights went out. Only the emergency glow remained. Rice touched his arm. The golden lines were gone. Lyra looked weaker now, pale and shaking, but she smiled. "I broke the link. For now." He held her close. "You saved us again." She whispered faintly, "No. I only delayed her." Outside, hidden among the asteroid shadows, something massive moved. A ship unlike any human design, living, breathing, covered in golden veins. From its center, a low hum spread through the void. The Hive had arrived. Inside that ship, the Queen opened her eyes. "Found you," she whispered. Her voice rippled through space. "Run, little human. Run while my shadow learns your fear." Back on Rice's ship, alarms started screaming again. Thousands of signals locked onto their position. Lyra stood beside him, her hands glowing. Rice clenched his jaw. "No more running!" He pushed the throttle forward. The ship dove straight into the storm of enemy lights. Lyra whispered, "She'll come through me again." Rice looked at her. "Then let her. I want her to see what humans do when we have something to protect." The stars blurred into streaks of fire. The Hive fleet closed in. And in the quiet heartbeat before it, the battle, two souls, one human, one clone, shared the same pulse. The battle began without sound, only flashes of light slicing through the void. Rice's ship spun between beams of plasma, engines screaming. Each hit shook the hull like thunder. He could barely keep control. Lyra stood behind him, her hands on the console, eyes glowing faint gold. She was helping him steer. The ship moved as if it were alive. "Keep going!" Rice shouted. "We're almost clear of the swarm!" Lyra didn't answer. Her gaze was distant, fixed on something invisible beyond the stars. "Lyra?" She blinked slowly. And when she spoke, her voice wasn't only hers. It was layered, two voices woven together. "She is near. She calls to me." Rice felt cold. "The Queen?" Lyra nodded. "She wants to use me, to see through me." He reached out to her, gripping her shoulders. "Fight it! You're not her." For a moment, she looked at him, her eyes full of light, trembling between fear and something else. "I'll try," she whispered. The next blast threw them off course. Warning lights filled the bridge. Engine failure, auxiliary systems down. Rice hit the manual override. "Hold on!" The ship dove into a debris field, chunks of frozen rock and metal floating like ghosts. They hid in the shadows, drifting silently. Outside, the Hive ships searched, beams sweeping across space. Inside, the air felt thick. The only sound was the low hum of emergency power and Lyra's unsteady breathing. Rice turned toward her. She sat on the floor, knees drawn up, her fingers clutching her head. "What's happening?" "She's angry," Lyra said. "She felt your defiance. She wants to break me." Her body shook. Golden light began to pulse beneath her skin. Rice stepped closer, but she held up a hand. "Stay back. If she gets through, she'll see you." He froze. "Lyra, I won't leave you." Her voice cracked. "You don't move." "Understand. She's using my blood like a signal. The more you care, the stronger she feels it." Rice clenched his fists. "I don't care what she feels. I care about you." The words seemed to strike something deep inside her. Her glow faded for a moment, replaced by tears. "You make me feel human," she said softly. "That's what she hates the most." Suddenly, the comms crackled. A voice, cold and smooth, filled the cabin. "Human," it said. "You speak of caring, of love. Do you know what it cost my kind to learn that word?" Rice looked around. "She's on the channel." The Queen's laugh echoed through every speaker. "Did you think hiding among stones would keep me from what is mine?" Lyra screamed. The lights flickered. Her body lifted a few inches off the ground, energy spiraling around her. Rice rushed forward, holding her tight. "Don't listen to her!" The Queen's voice grew sharper. "She is my reflection. You cannot save a reflection from the mirror." Rice gritted his teeth. "Watch me." He reached behind his console, pulling out a power injector, a small glowing device that could reroute life support energy. If he could channel it through Lyra's link, maybe he could overload the connection, break it.
Rice, no, she whispered weakly. It could kill me.
He met her eyes. If I do nothing, she'll take you anyway. For a heartbeat, silence filled the ship. Then Lyra nodded slowly. Do it. He pressed the injector against her chest. Light burst across the room. White, gold, red. Lyra screamed, her voice blending with the Queen's in a terrifying harmony. The Queen's image appeared for an instant, floating above them, translucent and furious. Foolish human! You burn what you love! Rice shouted. Then let her go! A shockwave tore through the bridge. Every panel exploded in sparks. The Queen's form shattered into dust and light. When it cleared, Lyra collapsed. Rice caught her before she hit the floor. She was pale, barely breathing. He could feel her pulse, faint, fading.
Lyra, come on, stay with me.
Her lips moved, slightly.
She's gone. For now.
He held her tighter, whispering,
You did it. You're free.
But even as he said the words, the ship sensors flickered again. Outside, a massive object drifted toward them, a living fortress of bone and metal. The Queen's command ship. Lyra opened her eyes weakly.
She's not gone. She's coming herself this time.
Rice stared through the viewport as the monstrous vessel filled the sky. He had minutes, maybe less. He whispered to himself, Then we fight to the last breath. Lyra touched his face gently.
Rice, promise me. If she takes me again, don't try to save me.
He shook his head, voice breaking.
I can't make that promise.
Outside, the first wave of drones began to descend. The hull rattled. The storm had found them again. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly.
Then hold on to me. And don't let go.
In the heart of the Hive ship, the Queen rose from her throne. Her wings unfurled, light spilling across the chamber. Her expression was not anger this time, but curiosity. How strange. A human who resists fear. She smiled. Let's see how long his heart lasts. Her army screamed in answer. The hunt was no longer a game. It was personal. And far away, one fragile ship waited in the dark. A human and his impossible companion standing together against a god made of stars. The sky above the small ship turned black, not the black of night, but the black of something alive. The Hive fortress filled the void, so huge that even the stars behind it disappeared. Its surface pulsed with golden veins, moving slowly, as if the entire vessel were breathing. Inside, Rice felt the ship shudder. Metal groaned. Lights dimmed. A shadow fell across the bridge. Lyra opened her eyes, whispering, "She's here." Before Rice could react, the console screens went dark one by one. Only a single symbol remained, the golden crest of the Queen. Then, tick-tick, walls began to melt. The metal itself dissolved into light, and before he could grab Lyra's hand, the floor vanished beneath them. They fell. No noise. No air. Only light, swallowing them whole. When Rice opened his eyes, he was standing inside a chamber that looked endless, walls of glass and liquid gold, a sky that curved in every direction. Lyra stood a few feet away. Her expression was distant, her eyes glowing fully now.
"Lyra,"
he whispered. She didn't answer. And then he heard the other voice. "Do you see it now, human?" The Queen stepped from the golden mist. Her form was tall, graceful, and terrifyingly calm. Wings like burning mirrors folded behind her. Rice raised his weapon. It flickered, useless. The Queen smiled. Guns are for bodies. You are standing in minds. He looked around. Every wall shimmered with memories. He saw flashes of Lyra as a child in the lab, trapped in a cage. He saw scientists running, dying. He saw the Queen's fury when the clone escaped. "This is her memory," Rice said. The Queen nodded. "And now it is yours too." Lyra suddenly gasped. Her body twisted in pain. The Queen reached toward her, a thread of gold stretching between them. "She belongs to me. She was born from my thought, shaped from my blood. You gave her name, yes, but I gave her existence." Rice shouted, "Then why hunt her?" "Because she makes me feel," the Queen said softly. Her voice carried sadness hidden beneath power. "She feels things I cannot. Every breath she takes burns in my head like fire. You made that fire stronger." Rice moved closer to Lyra. "You could just let her live." The Queen tilted her head. "And let that pain grow? No. I will take her back. Make her whole inside me again." Lyra looked at Rice, tears glowing like stars. "Don't let her, please." He stepped between them. "You'll have to go through me first." The Queen's smile faded. "So be it." The chamber around them changed. The floor split into endless mirrors. Each reflection showed a different version of Rice. One dying, one fighting, one already gone. The Queen's voice echoed. "Every choice has a shadow. Tell me, human, what are you willing to lose?" Rice felt something cold crawl into his mind. Images flashed. Earth burning, fleets falling, Lyra vanishing into light. He screamed, trying to push it out. Lyra reached for him. Her hand glowed white, brighter than before. "Rice, listen to me. This place isn't real." Her voice cut through the illusions like a blade. The mirrors cracked. The Queen hissed, her wings unfolding. "You dare break my realm?" Lyra stepped forward, trembling but unyielding. "I'm not your reflection anymore." Golden energy burst from her chest, cutting through the Queen's shadow. The chamber shattered. Rice opened his eyes again. They were back on his ship. Everything was on fire. Lyra lay beside him, barely breathing. Her pulse flickered like a dying star. He dragged her to the control seat. Outside, the Queen's fortress glowed, wounded. Cracks of light split across its surface. Rice whispered, "You did it. You hurt her." Lyra smiled weakly. "She's not done. She'll come herself now. No more illusions." Rice looked at her, determination burning through exhaustion. "Then we end this. Here." He powered the ship toward the fortress. Engines screamed. The Queen's massive eyes opened in the void, their light spilling across his hull. Her voice thundered inside their minds. "You would die for her?" Rice gripped the controls. "Not die." He smiled faintly. "Win." Lyra's hand touched his. Energy surged through the cockpit, their lights joining, human and alien, one pulse. Outside, the ship blazed with a new color, not gold, not blue, but something unknown. The Hive ships slowed, confused, almost afraid. Inside the Queen's fortress, she felt something she had never known before. A tremor. A heartbeat that was not hers, but somehow connected. She whispered to herself, What are you becoming, my shadow? And far away, Lyra opened her eyes again. They glowed brighter than any star. Silence after light. But silence never meant safety. The ship drifted toward the broken fortress, its hull glowing from the strange power that bound Rice and Lyra together. The Hive fleet had stopped firing, not out of mercy, but out of fear. The Queen's vessel no longer moved. It hung in space like a wounded beast, leaking golden smoke. Rice steadied the controls. "Lyra, can you hear me?" Her voice was soft, almost echoing. "Yes." She's calling again, not in anger this time, in curiosity. Rice frowned. "Then we answer." He pushed the thrusters. The small ship slipped through the cracks of the great fortress and disappeared inside. Inside the Hive's heart, light pulsed like a heartbeat. Walls of living metal twisted, shifting as they passed. Every sound was a whisper of voices, millions of them, the Queen's children speaking as one. Lyra clutched her chest. "They're afraid. They've never felt pain before." Rice kept moving, his blaster ready even though he knew it wouldn't matter. He could feel the Queen watching from every corner. At last they reached the core. A vast chamber opened before them, filled with pillars of crystal and flowing light. And there, in the center, stood the Queen herself. Not a hologram. Not an echo. Real. Her wings unfolded slowly, scattering golden dust that floated like fireflies. Her eyes glowed brighter than suns. Rice stepped forward. "You've been hunting us since the beginning. Why?" The Queen tilted her head, her voice calm and deep. "Because you touched what should never have been touched." Lyra moved beside him, trembling. "I didn't choose this life. They made me from you." The Queen's gaze softened slightly. "I know. You are my echo. My creators built you to steal my power. They wanted a weapon they could control. But you escaped. And then this human gave you something even more dangerous." Rice met her eyes. "Freedom." The Queen smiled faintly. "Love." Lyra's breath caught. The chamber dimmed as the Queen's expression turned grave. "When she feels, I feel. When she suffers, I suffer. The link runs both ways. Do you see the curse you've made?" Rice shook his head. "It's not a curse. It's proof you're not gods. You're alive." The Queen stepped closer. Every movement echoed like thunder. She looked down at Lyra. "You want to be human?" Lyra whispered. "Yes." "Then take the last step." The Queen raised her hand. Light gathered around them, swirling like a storm. Rice tried to pull Lyra away, but she stood still, eyes locked on the Queen. "What are you doing?" he shouted. Lyra's voice was calm. "She's giving me a choice." The Queen's power poured into her, blinding light, roaring energy. Lyra screamed as her form shimmered between flesh and fire. Rice reached for her. "Lyra!" The Queen's voice filled the chamber. "If she survives this, she becomes her own being. If she fails, she returns to me." Rice stepped into the storm. The light burned his skin, but he didn't stop. He grabbed her hand and held on. Lyra's eyes opened. Inside them burned two flames, one violet, one gold. "Rice, don't let go." "I'm right here," he said, even as his vision blurred. The Queen watched silently. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Her own body trembled, her wings flickering. Lyra's scream turned into light, pure, white, endless light. Then, silence. When the glow faded, Lyra stood alone in the center of the chamber. The queen knelt before her, weakened, and Rice lay on the floor, barely conscious. Lyra looked at her hands, no longer violet, no longer gold. Human. She turned to the queen. "Is it over?" The queen's voice was soft. "You broke the chain. You are no longer me. And I am less because of it." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry." The queen smiled, faintly. "Don't be. For the first time, I understand what sorrow is." She reached out, touching Lyra's cheek. "Protect him. He gave you life." Then the queen's body dissolved into dust and light, a final breath fading into the dark. Rice stirred, his voice weak. "Lyra?" She knelt beside him, holding his hand. "It's me. I'm free." He smiled, barely. "Told you we'd win." The fortress began to collapse around them. Lyra lifted him, power still glowing faintly within her. They ran toward the ship as the walls broke apart. The Hive fleet scattered, their queen gone. The fortress imploded into silence, leaving only dust and starlight behind. Hours later, drifting above the nebula, Rice woke to the soft hum of engines. Lyra sat beside him, watching the stars. He whispered, "Where do we go now?" She smiled gently. "Anywhere. Everywhere. For the first time. I'm not afraid of the stars." He took her hand. The nebula outside shimmered like dawn. But deep in the emptiness of space, a single golden spark still burned, small, steady, waiting. And somewhere far away, a whisper echoed through the dark. Echoes never die. For days, the little ship floated through the silent belt of dying stars. No pursuit, no signal, only the hum of its own heartbeat. Rice had patched the engines, but his body still hurt from the blast inside the fortress. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the queen dissolving, and that single spark she left behind. Lyra spent her hours staring out the window. She looked human now, skin warm, eyes soft, but sometimes, when the stars flickered, he thought he saw gold behind them. Neither spoke much. There were no right words after what they had done. One night, if nights even existed in deep space, Lyra whispered, "She isn't gone." Rice turned slowly. "What do you mean?" Lyra touched her temple. "Something small, like a heartbeat. It echoes inside my mind. Not her voice, just the sound." Rice frowned. "Could be a memory." Lyra shook her head. "No, it's alive." Outside, the nebula shimmered red again, the same color it had before the first attack. Rice gripped the controls. "We're leaving this sector." But as soon as he powered the engines, every screen lit up with the same symbol. The golden crest of the Hive. A signal came through, weak, broken, half static. "Human, Lyra." The voice was familiar, but not exactly the queen's. Softer, younger. Lyra's eyes widened. "That's impossible." Rice lowered the volume. "Who are you?" The signal crackled again. "I am what she left behind." Then, silence. Lyra whispered, "A child. She made a copy before she died." Rice exhaled slowly. "A second clone?" Lyra nodded. "Maybe more than one." Hours later, The ship's sensors caught movement at the edge of the nebula. Dozens of small lights drifted toward them, tiny ships, organic and glowing. They weren't attacking, they were following. Lyra pressed her hand against the glass. They're not Hive drones. They feel different, confused, lost. Rice set the ship to low power. Could be survivors. One of the smaller crafts broke formation and came closer, stopping just a few meters away. Through its transparent shell, he saw a figure, a being with skin like liquid silver and eyes that burned bright gold. It looked straight at Lyra and smiled. A whisper filled the cockpit. "Sister." Lyra stepped back, shaking her head. No, that's not possible." Rice reached for his weapon. "Talk to me. What is it?" Lyra swallowed hard. "The Queen didn't die. She divided." Before he could respond, the small ship projected a beam of light that wrapped around them. The walls of Rice's ship began to glow, veins of gold spreading like cracks. "Lyra!" he shouted. "I can stop it!" she cried. "But I'll have to open the link again." Rice grabbed her hand. "It could pull you back under." Lyra met his eyes. "If I don't, they'll consume everything." She closed her eyes. Light burst from her body, spreading through the ship. For a moment, Rice saw hundreds of images, thousands of minds linked together, a swarm without a queen, searching for one. Lyra's voice echoed through them. "I am not your master. I am your mirror." The swarm trembled. Some ships broke apart, others went dark. Then, from the center of the nebula, a larger presence stirred, something vast, ancient, and awake. The voice returned, deeper now. "You cannot unmake what you are." Lyra gasped. "She's inside them all." Rice slammed the controls. "We're out of here!" The engines screamed, dragging them away from the growing storm. Behind them, the nebula collapsed into a spiral of golden fire. When the light finally faded, the ship was alone again. Smoke rose from the panels, alarms fading into quiet clicks. Rice slumped back in his seat. "Tell me we made it." Lyra nodded slowly. "She's weaker, but not gone." He looked at her, exhaustion turning into a grim smile. "Figures. Queens never stay dead." Lyra smiled faintly too. "Then we keep going. There are other colonies, other humans. If she tries to rebuild, they'll need to know what's coming." Rice looked out at the endless dark. "Then we warn them. Together." He reached forward and punched the new coordinates. The stars shifted. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lyra whispered, almost to herself. "She called me sister. That means somewhere out there, others like me are waking up." Rice turned to her. "Then we find them before she does." The ship vanished into the streaks of hyperspace. Behind them, the nebula pulsed one last time, and deep within that light, a single eye opened, golden, calm, patient. A quiet voice drifted through the void. "Let them run. Every echo finds its way home."